Square Enix presents Sing to me of a time long past, a time when men answered to power alone, ruled by steel, steeped in darkness. Sing of an age called Zetagenia, because Ogre Battle Saga Episode 7. Welcome all, and let's play Tactics Ogre. Let us cling together with me, Rex. I love this game. This is quite possibly one of my favorite games. More so even than Final Fantasy Tactics, and that's saying quite something. That's actually saying quite a lot. Now, this game is actually very deep and has a very intricate story plotline, so there's opening scene in just a moment. We'll describe it far better than I could. I will let this play out.
Behold, the Valerian Isles, jewels of the Iberos Sea, long a center of naval commerce. The people here have struggled throughout history for dominion over these shores. Finally, there rose a man to put an end to this conflict. His name, Dogalawa Oberith, but history would know him as the Dynast King. Dogalawa took the disparate races of men calling the islands home and united them as one. He encouraged marriage between clans, forging bonds to strengthen his newborn kingdom. For fully half a century, the Dynast King reigned, and Valeria knew prosperity. But the embers of discord smoldered. Upon the death of the king, Abuna Branton Moore incited the ruling Bakram to declare the independence of their royal city of Hyde. Yet the schemings of the Abuna had just begun. Backed by the Holy Ludician Empire to the north, Branton created the Bakram Valerian Kingdom, naming himself as regent. He would have seen his rule span the Isles were it not for Lancelot Tartaros, High Champion of the Dark Knights of Lodis. Lancelot warned against such reckless expansion, and reluctantly Branton reined in his troops. This left two clans to vie for supremacy in the south, the Galgastani and the Wallister. 7 men in 10 were Galgastani, and on order of Hierophant Leander Balbatos, the Galgastani declared blood war against the weaker Wallister in a move to claim the south as their own. Valeria watched as the wholesale slaughter of the Wallister race began. Duke Judah Runway led the Wallister in resistance, but they were far outmatched, and in the span of half a year, they'd been brought to their knees. Balbatos proclaimed the Kingdom of Galgastan, and with it, an official end to the Blood War. But these things would bring no end to Wallister's suffering. A piecemeal resistance continued, yet with their Duke in chains, efforts flagged. In time, many of the Wallister resigned themselves to eke out such life as they could in the small province allotted them by Balbatos and the Galgastani. Victory begets peace, and for once the battlefields of Valeria stand silent. Yet none believe the calm will last.
So altogether, long and... Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Continue. Long and very interesting... this game is very long. I will warn you now, the videos for this game that I record are going to be upwards between 30 minutes to an hour in length, possibly more depending on the size of the battle. But they are just extremely long in general. Now, at the beginning of the game, you'll pick your character's name, so on and so forth, like always. I'm going to go ahead and leave it Denom because that is default. Yes. The hero's name is Denom. Used to be Denim, but alas. When were you born? This is just mostly for his age, but I'll go with my own birthday again. August 24th. And now you choose the cards. These cards, in particular, will... Picking a selection so much, it's supposed to be like a moral choice altogether, but picking a selection will actually influence your starting points. Now, while this doesn't really matter in the long run, if you know what you're doing, it can help choose certain numbers that benefit whatever you're trying to go for. I don't quite remember what gives what, so I'm going to go basically just off of memory alone. And for the tower, I do believe this one... My Beloved actually offers the most points, mostly in regards to, actually, I don't know, we'll see altogether, otherwise. How would you bring together two disparate clans? I personally would do it by diplomacy, others would either do it by this or this, but, yeah, so by diplomacy, pretty much. Talk them together. Strength. No heart is free of shadow. All men hold darkness in their hearts. What lurks in yours? I have no idea. Don't really care so much for my country. Family's not always the greatest, so vengeance for friends, I guess. The Devil. Oh no, I got this one. This is one of the worst cards you can get. There's only one choice that isn't really negative overall, and that is complete isolation. Because it actually does give a lot of a health boost, but the other two aren't really that great. You are poised to take the life of another. Why would you attempt this dire act? Satisfy revenge, defend my honor, defend my life. I usually go with this one. Of course, it gave me the Devil. One time I got both the Devil and Death in one, both of which are the negative stat cards, and... Well, that playthrough was fun. Alas, Square Enix presents, and the orchestrated themes for this game are absolutely amazing. And I'll stay quiet during these scenes, so enjoy. And horses are literally only in the cutscenes. There are no horses in actual gameplay. I'm not going to read the chapter name because it is entirely too long, but... Yes. Now, the text of this one was updated, just like in War of the Lions was for Final Fantasy Tactics, but I'm still terrible at voice acting, so I'm not going to try to imitate any of them. However, there is a little bit of English here and there, but otherwise, it's actually quite, it's actually much of an improvement compared to what it was before. I will read through it slowly enough that people can read, or if I skip ahead, just pause the video at the time, and, well, that's all that there is. But For those who are familiar with FFT, this game is very different, and yet similar. Trying to approach it like FFT, however, will get you in a lot of trouble, so I will try to describe as best as I go along. And I am actually better at this than I am at Final Fantasy Tactics, believe it or not. But I'll show you overall. Now then, what's going to be this battle here is just a tutorial, but it actually is a great way to show off something that people rarely recognize, and as well as provide a little bit of amusement, because even the dev team wouldn't have been able to catch this. Now then, those three are arguing. This game is a lot more morally dark than even Tactics was. Tactics ended up being some sort of like... While this one ends up a little similar, for the most part, Tactics ended up being a fight against what were effectively demons and whatnot. Whereas this one, well, a large part of it's still just conflicts against a certain person. Okay. Once battle begins, units with the slowest recovery time, RT, move first. That means the order in which units move is called attack turn. You can issue commands such as move and attack on a unit's turn. Basic stuff. However, RT is special because you don't have speed like you would in Final Fantasy Tactics. I went through that too fast. I meant to read it. Now, the important part to realize is, in this game, I'm trying to figure out how to do that. In this game, let me look at my condition. Okay, you see how it right up there, wait, where is RT at? RT is at 7, but it would have to be on the formation screen, but overall, your equipment has so much weight. All that weight will add onto your RT, so you might think that equipping, I don't know, 2 swords on your character is a good idea. It really isn't, because you're just making them take longer to get their turn. So, do keep that in mind. Now then, in this game, you have a melee attack, you have a ranged attack, and then you have an inventory. Everybody can use items, but certain items will require higher skills to use. Now, the ranged attack for most people, unless you have a ranged weapon, is going to be throwing stones of some sort. Now, it'll actually show you how far you can throw, and, you know, you can't really throw that far. However, arcing weapons, what most people do not realize, is they can actually attack outside of their throwing range. So, I can actually hit Warren here in the head with a rock, and, you know, it's not scripted, so they don't say anything about it. I just find it highly amusing about that, and plus, most people don't realize that you can do that, so they just try to attack within the range. The AI is not going to, so it's just something to take advantage of later on, because I don't play by honor in this game. I am a combat pragmatist. Whatever works, I will use it. The resistance. Do you even know who we are? No, we just attack people that show up because they have somebody's name. Yeah, you should have said that before it caught you up. Canopus there has to be one of my favorite characters, and not just because he's super useful in a fight. He usually ends up being one of the voices of wisdom and the voices of comedy in this game. And some of his sarcastic little, well, for lack of a better word, comments can be, he's not a nice guy. But he's, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what to say anymore. You are not our enemy. I can introduce myself, you know. Now, normally you can choose 2 of these. In the old version of the game, it would actually add a little bit of chaos or law or whatever else. This game, it's just a different dialogue choice. So, unlike Final Fantasy Tactics, which has a set single plot line, this game has several, 3 in particular, referred to as lawful, chaos, and neutral. Now, that doesn't precisely mean that, oh, hey, you're evil, oh, hey, you're good, oh, hey, you follow the law, yada, yada, yada. This is purely your capability of following what people have set up as, like, orders and whatnot. And it may or may, it's usually a little morally ambiguous, depending on what you choose. Because, well, you'll see all these choices later on. Lozlorraine, I think. Or Lozlorian, or something like that. I can't remember how it's... I don't know how it's pronounced. Yeah, they're also just simply referred to as the Dark Knights. Well, yeah, their name is the Dark Knights. They'd be kind of lethal. Shadows and secrecy. I wonder. When there's need of it, his dagger. Ha! No knights in shining armor, these. And word indeed, they are as dark as their name. Well, yeah, they wouldn't be called the Dark Knights if they weren't. That Gildas that lacks a lot of tact. And then Vice is Mr. Cynic. Yeah, I think that's what banished means, Lancelot. Well, I'm pretty sure you have a place, but... eh. Canopus. Money! I want it! Well, your fight seems to be going really well, isn't it? Passion. Passion does you credit. Tell me, what will you do now? We gotta get this guy. He's important. He's really important. Or supposedly. They're gonna kill him, and we have to stop him. And again, Canopus with money. Yeah, we just meet random strangers, listen to their tale, and now we're gonna help them go slaughter a bunch of people at a castle. Aww. Well, we kinda need it, so I would. Yeah, he'll die if we don't have your help, so we'll prepare at once. Well, because I have to put my own feelings above this. It's a bigger thing than myself, after all. Well, why would I? Yeah, Vice is a little bit of a dick, but he either gets over it or gets worse, depending on what you choose. Yeah, ouch. That was an actual sick burn. Wow. Okay, now we have a lot of guests. And they're probably going to tell me how to play the game, but I already know how, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to data, I'm going to save it immediately. Save completed. Immediate. That was actually kind of cool. Okay, now then. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, like I said, the RT is 97. That means that, anybody with a lower RT will go before he will. That means Vice will act first, and then Kaichua will act even before him. Lancelot's slower. Warren here is lightning fast. Canopus is a little slower. Mirrodin and Gil... Actually, wait, why does he have... okay, whatever. He has the same stuff, but he's a little slower. Anyway, a little slower, a little faster, so on and so forth. But yeah. My stats this time are 61, 50, 58, 60, 54. Okay, I got the bad end of the stick when it comes... Possibly just because I'm a warrior, but I got generally the bad end. Actually, let me look at the 35, 35, 30. So my dexterity is actually higher. That's good. And so is my mind, so I could actually use... I could use magic pretty well, and I can use daggers and ranged weapons pretty well. So that's what I got as a boost. And my health isn't what it could be, but I've gotten health as high as 170 before from the get-go. So, yeah, it started out low this time. Anyway, in this game, you don't learn skills like you would in Final Fantasy Tactics. You learn you learn skills overall, and then you'll have certain actions or use skills or whatever. But basically, you're not going to learn stuff like throw item or break equipment or what have you, charge your attack, or all the different types of spells, yada yada yada. Well, you'll learn over time. And in this, you'll get a lot of these are just passives. Like swords one hand, if I grab this, I will do more damage with one-handed swords, so on and so forth. Self-explanatory. Do more damage with axes, hammers, cudgels, whatever. And it would also eventually open up the use of finishing skills for each of these, which are basically just stronger attacks. Now, yeah, that's pretty much it for those. Now, when it comes to stuff like this, these will raise damage for particular types of units. This one will make you do more damage to humans. This one will make you do more damage to beasts, reptiles, dragons, divines, umbra, fairy, phantom, and golems. Or golem, it doesn't matter which. I don't know how you pronounce it. I don't care. But yes, these make you do more damage to them. Stuff like augment air, augment earth, augment lightning, augment water, fire, ice. We'll do the exact same thing. It'll make you do more damage with the respective magic type. And there are quite a few. There's air, earth, lightning, water, fire, ice, light, and dark. Most of them do the same thing in the terms of just being outright either damaging or having... air has a few different status effects that earth doesn't, so on and so forth. Light and dark are the two different ones, where light has most of the healing and has most of the healing magic and status ailment clearing, and darkness inflicts the most status ailments, but tends to only be one target, where other ones might be multiple. Like darkness has a one-person slow, where earth has a 5-panel slow, so on and so forth. But darkness is generally more wide-ranged, and anyway, yes, there are also you can gain a resistant bonus to different statuses like petrify, stun, sleep, charm, poison, silence. Messed up. Slow, blind, shackle. But I don't really pay attention to these that much because it's just in my eyes, it's just a waste of a skill. Why use it? Especially since it's hard to level it up. Anyway, counterattack. You can learn counters, but the problem is, counters are gained in increments. Counterattack 1 is only going to deal 25% damage of a normal attack that you would do. You have a close range weapon, somebody attacks you, you hit them back, you do 25% of the damage you would normally do. Knock back, 25% chance of knocking an enemy back, regardless of critical. Strengthen grants a bonus to physical attacks. This will be one of the first things I get, alongside gaining a weapon to use. Fortify raises your physical defense. True Strike raises your physical melee accuracy. Dodge raises your melee avoidance. Trajectory shows a guide displaying the trajectory of ranged weapons. This can be handy if you have trouble aiming. Field Alchemy just lets you use more items. Mighty Impact is a warrior skill that will grant the next attack that you do, it guarantees you get a critical hit. It can be useful, but at the same time, I'd prefer to avoid these. However, like I said, it can actually be pretty useful, especially later on. Vice here is also a warrior. Kachua is a unique class called a priest. Your regular cleric guys are just called Sibyls, or clerics rather. And what makes Katsuo special is, unlike most clerics, she can actually cast offensive divine magic. But you won't be able to do that for a while because the magic in this game is level-based. You will earn spells. You will either buy them from the shop or earn them on out in the field. Also, there are a few for magic-based stuff. Spell Strike is magic accuracy, Sidestep is ranged avoidance, magic avoidance, so on and so forth. And these are her unique skills, Seraph's Pact, which is when a divine unit to your cause. You're not going to see this come into play until like the very end of the game, and even then it's like it's a very hidden dungeon. Otherwise, it's not really that important. Holy Waters destroy a still undead unit. Unfortunately, the AI doesn't use this that often, but it would be really good. It is really good. Undead units in this game are very powerful because unlike FFT, in which if a unit falls and the timer runs out, they die permanently. In this one, if an undead unit falls and their turn unit runs out and their turn timer runs out, they will revive at full health, no matter what. So, destroying a stilled undead unit with either this or the spell Exorcism is almost a must. Now, Lancelot here starts out with a very powerful sword called the Lombardia, and trust me, you won't see a sword anywhere near this strength. Like, the closest, these are just like attack 37, 37, 40, 14, and yet Lombardia is ridiculously powerful. This sword will come into play later on when you get it via story event, and given the little yellow border around it means it's completely unique. But you can't take it from him right now, and why would you want to? It would disappear anyway. So, regardless of this, let's get on with it. To Almorica Castle. You'll not be able to leave the... yes, there are many points in this game where you have a multi-part battle like this. You go here, you fight here, and then you have to press on. You can't leave. So it recommends that you have multiple save files, which is a very smart idea. So let's go to the Gates of Almorica. You will run into a bunch of these guys, which are named, but are only seemingly significant for a single battle. However, given the nature of this game, it will give you an entry log of almost every single one of these guys that you face, and as well as their general history. I will explain the classes as I go along real quick. They're not too complex though. Unlike FFT, there's not really a whole lot of differences. Gildas there, he's showing you that you can jump to how jumping works and how movement works. Canopus, one of the more unique classes, or Canopus is something, it's called a winged. They're a little weaker and they have a limited amount of classes. However, they can move almost anywhere. And yes, do what he says. Rushing in with a single person into a big group of enemies, unless you're have extremely high, unless you're a knight or have extremely high defense or avoidance, you're usually asking to get yourself killed. But yeah, since this is the tutorial, they're just explaining the game to me, even if I don't want to hear it. Yes, unlike FFT, every single action you do will make your unit take longer to act. Moving will make him take longer, attacking will make him take longer, even using an item. So it's entirely up to you what you want to do. If sitting still, if the unit can't really do that much on that particular turn, sitting still might be the best choice. They'll get their next turn faster. But yeah, since I already know all this, I'm just gonna go through it. If you need the help, feel free to pause the video and watch, and read on your own time. I already know all this. This is also important. All units begin battle with no MP, that being the font of all magical power, blah blah blah. Basically, mages will start with no MP and will get a little bit on every so many ticks. Powerful magic requires greater amounts of MP, so think ahead before casting a spell. Basically, this guarantees mages will never run out of magic, but at the same time, it might take them a little while for them to really snowball and build up into their actual power. Now then, one of the enemies just got close enough to shoot at me, and I will show off some of these classes. Soldiers or warriors are basic soldiers, guys with various weapons of various close range weapons like swords, axes, daggers, great swords, so on and so forth. These guys are fairly self-explanatory and generally useful throughout the game, despite what you might expect. I recommend you keep at least one or two of these guys around. Archers here mostly use bows and crossbows. You can also use daggers for a close range weapon, I believe. However, most people will only focus on a bow or crossbow, and these guys can be really annoying, depending on exactly how well their stats are balanced. I was about to call her a Valkyrie. This is just female warriors. Some classes are different for males and females. They'll be called something different, but yet they're the exact same thing. Wizards here are basically the mages, spellcasters. Fairly squishy, but they can be nasty, and their spells usually will do a lot of damage. The magic damage stat tends to be lower than all the others, so just be aware that while you may not think it'll do as much damage, these guys are generally more balanced because they can do a lot of damage. They just take more dedication. I'll get into all this later on. And then there's this guy here, a berserker. They're a little bit more powerful than warriors. Yeah, they're a little bit more powerful than warriors. These guys are just made to run in there, get hurt, and keep on hurting. However, they can be taken down because their defenses can get a little low. So, and they're a little on the slower side. So just watch for that. Now, let's run forward because that's all we can do. These fights for the most part are scripted. They won't always play out the same way because of the random nature of the AI. But, like I said, for the most part, the individual actions will be the same. There goes Warren explaining a little bit more. Cease casting Paralytic Wave. What Stun does is it grants a chance that you fail to do an action when you do a turn. So say I move up next to, if I'm stunned, I move up next to somebody, I might fail to attack them or to otherwise act. Yes, in this game, you need class marks in order to change your class. Class marks can be found for sale in shops, but not are to be had so easily. When you get a new class, generally it takes a little while for them to be generally it takes a little while for you to get the ones that appear in shops. Also, all classes share the same level. If you have a level 5 archer, all archers that you thus create will be level 5. Now, individual stats are still going to vary, but this makes it easier for you to, say, if you lose a unit, which is actually kind of hard to do, it makes it a little easier for you to build up another one. It does mean, however, that any future classes you're going to get, you have to bring them up from the ground up, and it can be kind of hard given that lower level classes are generally squishy. See right here, exactly. If you take on someone of a class you've never encountered, you'll have to work them up one level at a time. Even if you say you go into a battle and you have a guest ally. That guest ally might be at your level, but when they actually join you, it will de-level them. Well, they'll still participate in the fight and get experience from it, but it's going to de-level them all the way back down to maybe level 1 or 2. Or I think 4 is usually the one that levels them up to from the fights. So just be aware of that. It can take a little bit of level. In this game, level grinding is almost necessary to catch stuff back up. Okay. Though, you don't gain, unlike an FFT, each individual unit doesn't gain JP, SP, yada yada from actions. In this one, everybody gains HP if they participate, everyone will gain experience and a little bit of SP if they participated in a fight. So technically, you just have to go into a fight and keep them alive. That's all you have to do. Murden's explaining field alchemy. I will generally give one of the one unit field alchemy and a special weapon called a lobber, which basically they can't throw stones or whatever, but increases the range of which they can throw regular items, from simply using it on adjacent to much further away. Items can be much more useful than just tossing around regular old, spells and whatnot, and sometimes throwing at items better than doing that. It gets a little expensive early on, but later on you won't need your MPH, you won't need your money as much, and, well, you'll need it, but money in this game is a little more awkward to obtain than in Final Fantasy Tactics. You don't really get money from fights, you sell stuff. You get extra equipment from fighting enemies and whatnot, you sell it all. You get, coins, which are mostly meant for selling, with the exceptions of silvers. I'll explain those later. You sell those for money. That's really all it is. That's all there is to it. That guy's just sitting there. Support skills, just that. Skills that provide some passive benefit to the user. Yes, pay attention to this. Some of those things are pretty important, and he will always one-shot a unit no matter what, except for the Bane guy up there. He has a support skill called Rampart Aura. What that will do is if a unit has to pass through that tile, they are forced to stop on that tile. It can be kind of obnoxious. Especially on later levels when it gets big. All Warren is going to do is Paralytic Wave. And I have a chance to move up closer. I still can't do much, so all I'm going to do is move closer and throw a rock. Only does 1 damage, but I don't care, it's damage. I did something, and that's what was important. I also got a Magic Leaf. Most spellcasters are going to have ranged avoidance, so they aren't shot and killed by enemy archers and whatnot. Also, spells in this game, as you can tell, are instant. They do not have casting time. Ham in the middle of a fight. Healing magic at its best. Or, not at its best, just at general work. Healing magic will get slowly stronger as the game goes along, and, well... But at first, it generally tends to be around the same. You'll heal about 30 points. 30 to 40. Healing 2 will heal about 70 to 80, and from then on, we'll heal a little bit more as it goes along, obviously. He one-shots her because he made a reverse to wind. Air reverse. Air is a little... Okay, no, he's casting magic. Most of the spells of this game, the damaging spells in this game, are just directional spells like that one. You have indirects, but they cost more MP. And yes, you can still counter with bows and crossbows. So you'll see archers shooting and then getting shot back at. Paralytic Wave, he's stunned. She interrupted me for 5 seconds to tell me something. He lost maybe 10% of his health and she healed him anyway. Okay, you can't really do much in this fight, so the only thing I'm going to do is just run around and pick up items and throw rocks at people. You will not remain unhurt. And Dex, leather armor, and Dynast King's Mead. He hits me, I hit him back. These enemies aren't that intelligent. Well, of course, it's the beginning of the game, so you can't expect them to be that smart. Also, yes, like I said, mages are squishy. Very squishy. Oh, that was a crit. And each of these has little each of these has spell clips that will only be said on various occasions. Usually, just more powerful versions of the same spell have the same incantation, but yeah, it's just neat little things. And now the fight's over. That was what was referred to. That is what is a special skill. sword special skill hits twice and is called Rending Gale. He had absolutely no way to survive it since it is usually unevadable and hits twice. But unlike in Final Fantasy Tactics, you can't overkill a unit. If a unit only has 28 hit points left and your attack will do 50, your attack will always do 20. Like I said, you get experience, everyone gets equal amounts of SP. All you have to do is participate in a fight. And it explains that right here. The way inside is clear. Stay on guard. Leave the heavy lifting to us. Yeah, you guys are the A team. You just get in there and do your job. Now, most of my units, I could have given myself a skill there because I have 80. So why not give yourself swords? Well, that's what I would normally do, except I'm not going swords in this run. I think I will do daggers because I started with higher dexterity. I find time for this with Master Nebeth away. You are gonna see this Master Nebeth quite a lot. More so than often, depending on what route you go down. And the ham will never stop. But yes, most of the objectives in this game are kill somebody. It doesn't always kill every enemy, but sometimes it can be. It's usually kill one boss guy that tends to be stronger than the rest. So, battles in this game, while it's actually faster than FFT, the actions are faster than FFT, it still can take a lot longer for battles to play out, simply because of the size of the maps. I mean, look how big this place is. That was a nasty counter. He's dead. Because he has a Hex Lombardia. Your characters are going to get knocked around, but don't worry, they can heal themselves. They're White Knights. Not hiring by any chance. And worry you'll leave for a bigger purse. We don't need outsiders to do our killing. He makes a good point. Nice. And now is when he actually starts casting damaging magic. And Warren proves himself to be one of the most powerful mages in this game, even early on. However, Warren isn't an easy unit to permanently obtain. It takes a lot of grueling effort. Effort which I will do eventually, later on, and that will possibly take a span of literally 20 plus videos to do, but I will do that effort. Well, then again, I might ignore most of it because it'll really just all be the same. Anyway, like I said, she'll heal them, they'll heal themselves, they're White Knights, they can do that, and for the most part, I really don't have to worry about my characters dying. These first few battles are easy. It's a tutorial fight. They're easy for a reason. Though we have a new unit in this battle, Knights. Knights are a little bit more hardier than warriors, but they're also slower, and they're really slow actually, and they have higher defenses. They also have a special skill which when they have enough TP right there, which is this the T next to his MP down there, called Phalanx, that until their next turn they will only take 95. All damage done to them is 95% reduced. Will only do 5% damage. So Knights are going to make themselves to be a huge nuisance, but they can be taken out. I got a crit. Nice. Got some items, leather armor, linen slops, and some min leaves. Can't go wrong with min leaves. Miss Enchantress there moved herself a little too close. She's called an Enchantress, but really she's just a female wizard. There really is no difference in regular wizards and female wizards, or female enchanters. It's just a name. And now then, just waiting for the battle to end. I won't really have a whole lot to say during these. Just might comment on things happening, like getting hit with a crit, hitting others, occasionally chanting a spell quote because they're fun, getting hit with dead shot, stuff like that. And she missed, haha. But he's healing me regardless. Now, Gildas and Gildas and what's his name? Murden are both called White Knights. They're basically knights, but they're a little faster and a little more balanced. They can use more weapon types and whatnot. Now, and then Lancelot himself is a paladin. He's just basically a White Knight on steroids. But like, just like Warren, Lancelot is actually very hard to permanently obtain, so don't look forward to getting him in the long run. I don't have to pick up all of the bags because it's so long as they are still in the ground, it will do that at the end of a battle for you. Oh, he just got a crit, and this ended it right away. Sometimes this battle can go on long enough that you kill all the units besides the main one. Lancelot's weapon is usually powerful, which is why his weapon is so powerful, is he'll end the fight sooner or later no matter what you do. And you get a whole lot of spoils from the end of the fight. Some Knight's Marks, some Oberiths, some, which are the coins you sell, some Blessing Stones, which revive people, and a bunch of other stuff. Experience points, which is going to be allocated evenly. The more you use a unit, though, and the more units that participate, the more units, well, the more experience that class gets. Then, everyone's going to get the same amount of SP, though. And there's some left over that doesn't get allocated to anybody. And more story. I don't doubt your sword, however, that other guy looks suspicious. He looks like that guy that's supposed to be with the king. What is he doing here? And you're also the leader of the Holy Knights. No, I'm not that guy. Even though I look exactly like him, or, well, you've heard of him. I'm not him. If New Zenobia does not seek to usurp, I will have your proof. Well, they did kind of risk their lives to save you. Sure, why not? I'll have your word then, and its proof shall be in your deeds. And employment besides. Basically, he wants us to train guards and soldiers. As you wish. And then they leave, even without being told. Abunas are basically priests and whatnot. I think it's just like the same reference for father, so on and so forth. Abuna Princet. This guy certainly knows how to talk. Us? Knights? Yes, unlike Ramza, we actually do become knights, so to speak. Yeah, sure, why not? I will require a name. Well, I could do dark scale. It will auto default it to whatever name of the month that you're born in. However, after playing CCP2 and learning of the name of the sword you can steal from Why can't I remember his name? You can steal from Gefgarian. Its name has stuck with me for a long time, so Lemurian. He'll say the same thing no matter what the name of your guild is. Your knightly order, so to speak. So I have to go to this town called Crisaro. Yes, necromancer named Nebeth. That actually is a class. And Nebeth makes himself a nuisance later on, as well as, well, you guys will see in the next few videos. He's having a harder time than expected. Yeah, sure, why not? Crisaro to aid him, understood? Yeah, he's like, give yourself soldiers and purchase whatever gear you need. I expect you have little in the way of coins, so I'm giving you 30,000 goth. The money in this game is called goth. And I get a few guys. Generics, but still useful. We won't let you down. Young heroes of Wallister. I love this game's music so much. Well, you're welcome, I guess. Yeah, thank you. Aw, that's sad. You're overpowered. I want you. Oh well. Win or lose, while there's life, there's hope. I'll try to remember that. Yeah, sure. Best not forget, the dead get no second chances. Well, no they don't, and yeah, that's true. Yeah, words of wisdom. Of course. And so they all leave. But looks like a lady's still standing there. It is Dame Ravnus. She is basically this game's version of Agrius. Not quite the same, but she looks similar, and they're usually compared. Her backstory is actually very in-depth, but getting her permanently as a character takes a lot of dang it moments, and you have to know what you're doing. Also, you can only get her on the lawful path, otherwise she dies. Spoiler alert, I forgot to mention that, but I don't know. I don't know whether I'm going Chaos first or Lawful. For those who know what I'm talking about, yay. For those who don't, yay, because you still have no idea what I'm talking about. You'll see it as it comes. And you are Ravnus Luxarian. At least I think that's how her name is pronounced. Luxarian or something like that. Ravnus. In a manner of speaking, I suppose. And what manner would that be? Yep, she drew off all the garrison defending the castle, otherwise you guys would have failed. Denom is, well, I would argue that he's a little more two-dimensional than Ramza is. At least Ramza shows a lot of character development. Denom just seems to be wise from the get-go. But alas, all the character development actually goes into the other characters. Denom he's usually just the guy that's, everything happens around him. And there's actually quite a lot of character development if you pay close attention. Especially with Miss Ravnus there. And so she walks away. Hey, you know that money you have? Use it. It's good. Ha! Caught you. And now we gain guys. His name is Piers. Oh boy. Olif, the archer, Simon the wizard, Domini the cleric, and Waydard the rune. That guy's name is weird. Waydard the rune fencer, though. Rune fencers are basically just like, they can cast magic, they can use swords, shields, spears. They're one of the few classes that can use spears, actually. But rune fencers suffer from a bad case of jack of everything, master of nothing. Literally, they're overshadowed in almost every way. There's only a few characters who actually make really good rune fencers, Denon being one of them, simply because he's a better unit overall. Now then, I'll show you the shop and such real quick. You can buy, sell, obviously, hire new people, and auction off monsters if you have them. Weapons come in various categories. You have fists, but what's your two-handed weapons? Obviously, because, well, you're using one or both hands. You're using both your hands. However, punching with your regular fist will not do a lot of damage. Punching with fist weapons does a lot. These are usually the brute force one of the brute force weapons of the game, and in general, I'm not exactly sure. They're just pretty decent. Knives here tend to be way less. They do less damage, but they weigh less, and yeah, that's basically what knives do. Most of them tend to be piercing weapons. Most swords are slashing. You occasionally get one that does piercing. They're just the straight up, hey, I'm going to hit you in the face kind of weapon. Broadswords can be a little weaker, but broadswords are the big two-handed stuff. You know. They'll usually lower a few skills at the cost of being really powerful. Axes, on the other hand, are a little less accurate, or a little stronger than swords, but a little less accurate, and tend to weigh a little bit more. That's both one and two-handed axes, by the way. Each of those don't actually have separate. Those do have separate categories. My bad. Spears are always two-handed. Tend to be a little powerful. Hit at a range of 1 and 2. Weigh somewhat heavy, but overall will empower a decent number of stats. Hammers hammers are the slower forms of one and two-handed weaponry. Usually going to be the most powerful though. Cudgels here are just mage weapons. All you're going to be using these for is just the stat boosts. You won't really be attacking with these, unless you're trying to be funny. I'm not going to buy that. I am going to buy a battle knife though, and a sticker. Gurgi's bowgun. Wait, whoops. Just usable by a different number of. I can't use these right now, but blowguns are basically just little darts. Some, like these, are useless themselves, but some others later on will inflict status effects. That's really all they're good for. Short bows are one-handed, and most classes can use them. Basically, you can have a sword in one hand and a short bow in the other. You can attack, shoot, or you can even have a shield in the other hand if you have a short bow. Great bows are the long bows. These are the two-handed, big two-handed ones. They're usually going to be a lot stronger than the little short bows, and usually cost a little bit more and have greater reach. They also weigh more and take longer to act, so just be aware about that. Crossbows are purely directional. Unlike FFT, you can't get in close and aim behind somebody without a target being there. But unlike bows, you can actually shoot straight up at somebody. There is no arc. They are straightforward weapons. These are usually very powerful, and I will actually give Canopus one once he joins me, because crossbows are really good. Crossbows are very good. Shields, not everyone likes these because they add a lot of RT, but they increase your defense by a good bit. Some increase other stats. In general, they're a good thing to have. Circlets, just different types of armors. Like, what's the difference between these? Really, it's just some add more defense than others, some do more different stats. Yeah, so on and so forth. Like, this could be better for the character I'm trying to make than just outright defense and other stuff. Armor, however, doesn't raise your RT at all. It's just anything like sword, shields, and weapons. And then jewelry, you'll see more of this later. For the most part, you'll either be making it or you will get it from random fights. But These two, just small stat boosts. Just attack, just defense. Arcana is purely spells. You know, like the different types of magic, like I already explained. Air, earth, lightning, water, fire. Fire doesn't have as many. Ice, basically what is divine and dark. I will be focusing on divine and dark because that's usually what I do. Wizards can't use divine. Wizards can only use dark. Wizards can only use dark out of those. So dark magic it is. And then, yeah, that's basically it. Now let me equip my stuff, and then I will end the video. So basically, this will actually do a little bit more damage because it's funny. I find that highly amusing that this tiny little knife will do more damage than the short sword that I picked up, or that I started with. Only slightly, though, and this battle knife will do even more than that. So let's go ahead and equip this, and watch this. Whenever, by the way, you can either assign a skill, or you can add a skill slot by learning it. What I will do first is I will add daggers, and then learn a single skill slot, and hope I have enough for another skill. I highly doubt that I do, though. Yeah, trajectory, fiat, alchemy. The next one I'm going for is strength in here, because it makes you do more damage. And then fortify. But, however, you can have up to 10 skill points. Each one will cost 30 points more, I believe. The last one will cost either 270 or 30 SP. So yes, daggers. Once I equip this, his attack rose to 162. Not a big number, but once I'm capable of equipping the battle knife here, it'll be even more. And over time, it'll go up. So what you want to do is immediately give your character a specialty in the weapon you choose, in the weapon choice you choose, if you're capable of using that from the get-go, that is. And just stick with that throughout the whole game. Yeah, that's really all that there is to say about that. So, just make sure you pay attention for that, and overall, you'll be good. You'll be good in the long run. Now, with that being said, thank you all for watching my Let's Play of Tactics Ogre. I apologize for the length, but there really is nothing I can do about that. This game takes a long time to play. With that being said, you guys have a good day.